Heavysettactical. I am out here to test a knife today that I've owed a test for a while. This is the Marine Raider Bowie. It's made by Work Tuff Gear and designed by one of my buddies, Reese, over at Well Regulated. He is on YouTube and Instagram. Just search well_regulated. He designed the Marine Raider Bowie. There's a lot of designs out there that are pretty cool, like Bowie style knives, but I like this one a lot more. And I think it's got a nice weight and thickness in the tip. It just works, and it's a lot of Work Tuff Gear knives people think are a little overbuilt, but this is one of those overbuilt knives that works. Now this is a sling setup because I borrowed this knife from Gabe over at the Last Huntsman channel. Thank you, brother, very much for lending it to me. And he had it on a sling setup, so that's just how it is for my test video, even though I'm about twice the size of Gabe. Again, this is the slightly older variant of this knife. It's an SK85 as opposed to the new ones, which are not acid washed like that. They have a belt satin and they're in the K329. But the SK85 is a fantastic hard use steel. And the handle scales on this bad boy, shout out to Lucas Carroll Customs. He makes custom scales for a lot of knives that I like. So check out Lucas Carroll Custom Scales. Yeah, we're gonna test it out today. We're gonna bang on it a little bit and kind of see how it feels in my hand while I'm doing some chopping. Maybe try some carving and some finer stuff with it. Has a pretty good edge on it. So let's get started. Guys, I took off the sling because I'm kind of crawling around back in the woods right now. So I just have the V44X. And one thing, I'm just clearing out a little bit of space to chop down this sapling that's dead as a doornail. This thing is just made for chopping. Now guys, I always say watch so you don't come down and hit yourself, because like you saw the other day when I poked my thigh there, these things are made to cut and stab, and they do just that very, very well. So make sure you're standing back. Keep your left leg back a little bit, but not be too off balance. So guys, this is one of those very rare breeds of a knife. It just doesn't need a lanyard. That rear grip that Reese from Well Regulated designed from here back is such a full grip. I can keep all 4 fingers on it for swinging. So as you can see, I wasn't putting too much oomph into it. And that thing's just ready to go. It is one of the best choppers ever out of all the Work Tuff Gear stuff. It's got a nice forward weight to it. But again, back here is so wide. It's not like a normal bird's beak where it is really stabbing you or you have to put a pinky behind it. I can just keep a rear grip like this and have such a well done chopping motion on there. It's just ready to go. And I'm not putting hardly any weight into that chop. So that's what I love about stuff that has a nice forward weight on it, is you don't have to put that much swing into it. Guys, I shot a little bit of video on batoning already that I had lost. So this is a public trail. Sometimes people come walking through here. I don't want someone giving me a hard time about their face being in my video on YouTube or something. So somebody walked up behind me, I didn't know it. So I already batoned a few things, but I really like the way this knife passes through material. And again, I am not here to baton a 5-inch log that's 6 inches around. That's just not my game anymore. And I can already tell this is really, I can't think of what kind of tree this is, but it's really, really fibrous and really, really hard. Very, very fibrous wood. It's real bendy and wavy. You guys know that kind of nasty wood I'm talking about. That's super fibrous, super wavy. And this knife just passes through material really well. So again, if I was planning on doing any larger stuff, I would be using a hatchet, probably any larger than what I'm doing here. But I'm just doing this to show you guys your tip's not going to break right off. Your tip's not going to break right off with this knife. People think if it has a clip point like that, oh, the tip will break. Your tip's not going to break. Work Tuff's heat treat is good. Their steel choice is a very hard use steel. This SK85 is definitely tried, true, and trusted. I'm cutting in this dry, dead piece all sideways and crooked. Man, Work Tuff Gear knives are just made to last. This will last Gabe, 200 years, man, this freaking knife. Oh, super fibrous. A lot of knots. This stuff's just, it's very givey, and it's got a lot of fibers. You can see those waves in that wood. It's a difficult wood to baton, and I'm trying to think of what tree it is because I have one on my property. So guys, again, I think I don't baton anymore to show you destructive stuff with knives. I baton to show you just how, if you are stuck in a situation where you have to do it, these knives are completely capable. And this Bowie knife is wide from blade to hilt. It's very proud, very wide. And I thought that it might drag a little bit because there's so much, the bevel's so long and then the flat top's long, but it doesn't drag at all. Trust me, if I was using like an SE6 or something, I'd be over here cranking and breaking a sweat and getting all mad at it. This thing's just going right down through it. So again, if I had to use this to baton a bunch of wood for a fire or whatever the case is, it would definitely be able to do it and do it very well. Now let's see how it feather sticks. I'm gonna do a feather sticking example or a little bit of carving. Maple is just nice and straight. Great for a platform for bow drill divots. Great for getting down into the center of it on a nice straight piece like this to make kindling with, bow drill divots with, or to make feather sticks with. So you just kind of cut slices of, like a pizza. Cut some triangular slices around the outside. That's a little too thin there. To get a nice piece to do your feather sticking example with. There we go. So, again, Work Tuff Gear usually does a flat grind with this nice convexed, oh man, that's just, that spine is so sharp, with a nice convexed edge. Guys, I always say these big knives by Work Tuff Gear for shelter building or bow making or any kind of seriously primitive survival skills, this thing will act like a planer. like an old, you know, hand planer. You can even use it to get a nice flat surface even flatter to make a bow drill divot. I'd probably put this into a stump and then go like that with my other hand. Try to take some of that, you know, swinging that knife back and forth. Kind of reduces that action a little bit. But again, what I love about the V44X and Work Tuff Gear as a whole is their choils are usually really comfortable, which this one, super comfortable. And it's a flat grind with a convexed edge. So the edge being convexed, you know, picture the bottom of a boat or an apple seed. Instead of a secondary V edge, it's rounded to meet down at the apex. So this knife has a real gradual edge on it, and you can just find where it's gonna bite in and just run your curls. And again, it takes a minute to get used to every different knife you're using. But the beauty of most Work Tuff Gear blades is when they're heavy like this, the blade does all the work. I'm hardly pushing down or anything. I'm just pushing outwards away from me and just letting that convexed edge, that convexed secondary edge, just do all the work for these nice, some of my favorite curls are these nice, flat, real thin ones. So they dry out while I'm doing the feather stick. They're drying out, so then I can hit them with a spark. And if each one of these feather sticks is nice and wide, say this is one of those individual fibrous curls, the wider they are, the more chance you have of a spark landing right in the center of it and catching fire to the other ones around it. That's how I look at it. Surface area, that's the word I was looking for. So usually a lot of guys speed up their feather sticking, but I like to talk while I work. And guys, this is the older variant in SK85, but the new ones are in K329, which I like a lot more. Just because of the stainless aspect, it's a lot more stainless than SK85, a lot less chance of rusting. But the new K329 is just as hard use, in my opinion, as the SK85, but you get a little more stainlessness. And guys, I think we have Spyderco to thank for the K steels, like K390, K329. The K390 Spyderco uses on the lightweight folders is some of my favorite steel ever. So, you know, some German steels and other countries that are making steels, you know, it's usually the kind of the same recipe, but a few different variables. So again, this is one of those knives that just has that real pronounced belly from here to here, where there's just so much energy coming down on that belly that it just goes right through stuff. I mean, there was just no force in that. So it's a big knife you can bash through saplings with, you can de-branch with. You know, if you're making a shelter and you have to, you know, de-branch 8 or 10 of these saplings to lay them across the roof of a shelter, or make traps and triggers with them, or what have you. I'm going to bring you guys in a little closer, and I'm going to show you that this knife is actually pretty capable of doing some carving stuff. So I'm going to bring the camera a little closer. So some of you guys are probably wondering, if this is on a chest rig, what do I have on my hip? I have the one that got me. So guys, next up, as far as reviews, is going to be the Red Wolf and the Work Tuff Gear Red Wolf, designed by Vic Lynn, the Little Evil Fighter, designed by Zeke Minacho, and then here we have the Calvin Richardson, aka the one that got me, the Steadfast. This is a Work Tuff Gear knife that's coming out, and watch it with this guy, because that tip is just horrifically sharp and nice and thin. Not too thin though. but I just wanted to quickly show you guys this knife because it's been a real surprising, enjoyable carry for me. It's very comfortable in hand. It's got that nice pronounced, not a thumb ramp, but like a thumb platform for your thumb to sit on. And it's just got that really nice convex edge with that pretty high saber grind on it and a non-sharpened swedge. It's a fantastic knife. But it sucks to get stabbed in the thigh with, so don't do that. So guys, now, very briefly, I'm gonna show you guys just a little bit of carving with this guy. I just wanna show you that it's totally possible. You know, if you're doing some notches, you can kind of do it on a few different spots. It's very broad, and sometimes super broad knives are a little more annoying to carve with and to do some notches with. You could come up and use the tip a little bit. Again, this is a hardcore survival bowie. You know, there's a lot of other options that are a little more, that make a little more sense if you're going to be doing a lot of traps and triggers and stuff like that. But this is a hell of a knife. That's a very colorful and aggressive design, but it also worked out really well. And I know Reese from Well Regulated spent a lot of time on this design. And guys, if there's one thing that I try to respect, especially as a newer knife maker, I try to respect people's designs, because that's a piece of them that they're putting out there for other people to enjoy because they thought it was a good idea. And I would really hate to see anything I do in my shop kind of, you know, mess with other people's designs. So I try to be careful of that. Oh man. So guys, this doesn't throw a lot of little sparks. It does what everyone wants a quote-unquote bushcraft knife to do, and it has a deep burr that's going to take off big pieces that'll sit there and actually char for a while and burn for a while. So that's even better. So this thing is going to start a fire like a champ. It is just an awesome blade. It's ready to go, and I'm really enjoying testing it. Guys, in general, I know this knife has been out for a while, and it's just tried, true, and tested. This was my perspective on it. The sheath is fantastic. Even if you have it on belt carry, I mean, it's gonna hang okay on the belt. I don't see why you couldn't belt carry this knife. You guys know me, and at the end of the video, I do specs and pricing on my table in the knife office there. So these scales by Lucas Carroll custom scales, they just, no hot spots, no irritations, no rubbing, and I even have that injury on my finger, and it's not bothered by the knife at all. It's been fantastic. I really like the ribbing, the diamond textured ribbing on the outside. And this design by Reese from Well Regulated has just, like always, you know, Work Tuff Gear does a great execution, but it's good. It's great. And it's something that you can chop really crazy with. You know, it could be a self-defense kind of pig sticker knife because it's got that pronounced tip. It is more of an aggressive design, but that's why it's called the Marine Raider Bowie. I mean, I think it's quite in the name. And he modeled it after an older Marine Bowie that was, it was an older design. I can't think of the year. Maybe I'll throw that in the description. But Well Regulated is a hell of a designer. Work Tuff Gear is a hell of a manufacturer, and they came together and made this awesome knife. But I like the idea of having a larger knife like this on a sling. I would probably have a 3-way, so it's going around my back, like under your breast area, and then one over the shoulder, so I can pull it out like this, right on my chest. And then when I'm done using it, I can put it right back up in there. This sheath, it's not coming out of this sheath. It's not going anywhere, so you can carry this upside down. And it does have an area for a lanyard, I just really like the design. The handle is super comfortable, and it's not rounded off. When they're rounded off on big knives like this, you really have to squeeze in your hand, because when you're chopping, the knife is really subtly rotating in your hand because it's circular. This one is nice and squared off like an Essie. I think that's why people love Essies so much as like a chopping hard use knife, because it stays nice and straight and plumb in your hand when you're using it. And this knife was just a breeze to use. So I know the video wasn't too long, but I wanted to get out and get some testing in with it and show you guys what I thought. I think it's a great carver, a great chopper, and it weirdly feather sticks very well. So I'm definitely impressed with it. So at the end of this video, after this segment, we're going to go to specs and pricing, and I'm going to try to figure out when the next time you guys can get your hands on one is. Thanks for watching.
Guys, here we have the V44X. This is the segment of the video where I do specs and pricing. Okay, so we're going to just go over. This is the SK85 variant with an acid wash finish. The new ones, and this has been through a lot. The new ones come with like a Gator Grip Camo G10 with orange G10 liners and a saber grind. I think the new ones, the saber grind might even be a little higher, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just about the same exact knife as the new ones. The inspiration for this was from a World War II Marine Raider Bowie. So this is from a kind of modeled after Reese from Well Regulated. He kind of modeled this after a World War II famous Bowie. So the overall length of this is 16.2 inches. The blade, it's a 10-inch blade on this bad boy. The thickness is 0.196, so 196 thou, almost 200 thou. It's a nice thick blade, but it's not too thick. You can see the little 45 here, the little chamfers on either side for your thumb to be comfortable. The choil is nice, super sharp spine, very comfortable. And then to cock back here, what I was explaining was you don't have to come the whole way back to get good chopping. You can stay right here. It's nice and comfortable. I really love the V44X. And Reese from Well Regulated is a veteran, and he is just quite a good man. So blade length 10 inches, overall length 16.2. The thickness is 196 thousandths. The weight is 26.7 ounces, and it is 33.2 ounces with the sheath. Again, this is my buddy Gabe's setup here. So the sheath is awesome. I heard the new ones have even a better retention than this older variant. Guys, the scales are from Lucas Carroll Custom Scales. Check him out for all your Work Tuff Gear and Essie and Becker handle scale needs. Also, he's doing some Reef Knives F6 handles as well. So, guys, the price on these is about $250. I think it's $259. They are just fantastic knives. For that price, you're getting a lot of steel, lot of abrasives used on this, milling on the fuller. It is just a beautiful knife, and it was a hoot to test out. It was kind of rainy and dreary when I did my testing, so I may have seemed a little dreary, but I really love this knife. So guys, go check out Well Regulated. Reese from Well Regulated. He's a good man, good designer, and Work Tuff Gear knocked this one out of the park. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and like always, stay safe and stay heavy, my friend.